You're listening to Get to Know World of Warships, a podcast hosted by Boggzy and Stimpax, produced by TNG The New Guys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Warships podcast that has an intro, and I don't need to say that anymore. Damn it.
Fine. I mean, some podcasts really do need two introductions. Because there's some people that need no introductions. We need two of them.
I agree.
Possibly a third. So I got your list of requisitions for upgrading the TNG studios here in Burbank, and I mostly approve of it. I think that upgrading catering from Chipotle to just straight up craft services, I'm down with that. I also think that we could definitely benefit by getting some Herman Miller Aeron chairs, and I would like an Eames chair for myself with the footrest.
I don't know what these boomer chairs are you're talking about. What is this?
This is your requisition list. I've got it right here in front of me. I'm reading it as we speak. But like I said, I'm down with everything. The only thing I'm not sure about, though, and it may just be a budgetary issue that makes me maybe want to tap the brakes or reconsider, but in the dressing rooms, I'm not sure we need fluffers for a podcast.
Listen, I live in Hollywood, okay? These are standard. These are industry standard, and if you check the Screen Actors Guild guidelines, these are a must. There's no room for negotiation here. I
understand. It's not like I doubt you. I just am having the trouble making the logical connection of why a audio podcast needs fluffers. But you're the expert in this department. Anyway, I'll forward this over to budgeting, and we'll have our interns just bring the inter-office memo down to the boys at Spotify, and get all this taken care of.
Good. I would hope so. I mean, how are we going to compete with Howard Stern if we don't have fluffers?
Exactly.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. I don't. And let's talk about a couple of items we got in front of us. All of which I just suddenly forgot. And it's a case of rare stage fright. Did you write this down?
I did. Let me pick this up for you then. Okay. So we have a great show for you. Oh, I feel like Jay Leno or like one of the other better ones. We got a great show for you tonight, folks. We got coming up. We're going to talk with.
We're talking about Carson.
Yes.
Because I don't know anyone else that would be better than Leno.
You think Letterman's not better than Leno?
Letterman?
I mean, like, I respect the chin. I respect the chin on Jay Leno, but I mean, when a guy is sitting there like, I talk like this, it's like, I talk to Gassi.
It's all about the monologues. And growing up, nobody made my face hurt from laughing more than Leno when he had a good monologue. Letterman, I feel like he's more interested in trying to impress you with how intelligent he is rather than actually just trying to make you laugh. And he's not. Leno's a true comedian. Like, the jokes he do. He would be at a comedy club early that afternoon, testing them in front of an audience. Letterman was never a stand. He was a weather guy.
Wow.
Come on, get out of here.
I think I just got put in my place. Well, okay. So coming up for you today on our show, where we're clearly both highly proficient comedians and comedy writers, we're going to be talking with Quadrilus about the Supremacy League and KOTS tournaments coming up. We're going to be
making some news on that one too.
That's right.
We've got the dates.
And we're going to be talking with bwray from SCCC about the Yoshino and how you can up your Yoshino game. And then finally, we're going to be talking with WOOKY legend from Clan WOOKY about how to essentially build an empire of clans and streams and not get sued by Disney. So super fun. Stick around for all that. And in the meantime here, we have been lackadaisical in acknowledging the hard work and attention of our very own Red Cool, who has put together a list of all the ships sunk on Get to Know World of Warships. So, are you ready for some data, for some cold, raw, hard data?
I am, and I want to also thank our senior intern, Red Cool, for compiling this list.
He may be a senior, but we don't hold that against him. So, do you have a guess as to which is the most sunk ship?
Well, it would be easier if I paid attention, but I'm going to guess Stalingrad.
Wrong. Want one more guess?
Hakuryu?
Yes, it is the Hakuryu.
All right.
With a total of over 45 episodes and no no consistent number of sinkings per episode because we're not professionals. We have the Hakuryu coming in first place with 10 sinkings, followed by the Smolensk in number 2 with 9 sinkings, and number 3, tied for number 3 at 5 apiece, is the Kremlin and the Stalingrad. None of which surprise me.
Nope. And what's interesting to me too, the first one, it has gotten a nerf, albeit a small nerf, but the AP dive bomb damage has been reduced.
Yep. And the rocket reticle also has changed.
True. So it's a little bit easier to dodge. Basically, nose in or tail into the strike. You're reducing the number of shells you take. So
it really does.
That's fair.
Can confirm. Did play some CV yesterday. Can confirm.
Yeah. Am I mistaken, or is that the only tech other than we have to go all the way down to Kremlin to find another ship that's tech trait? But that ship also, since it came out, has been hit with a nerf bat a few times, right?
Yep. So overall, outside of one Japanese carrier, it is distinctly the Iron Curtain getting sunk on the World of Warships podcast.
It's pretty easy to sink a paper ship, I guess.
I suppose so.
Once they get a little bit wet, they just kind of...
Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then what else we got? Ranked coming up.
Ranked sprint, right? 3v3 tier 9.
Yes, and you can bring a division of 2. So find your best clubbing buddy and go clubbing, basically.
Why, if they're really going to go 3v3, why not just a division of 3?
I don't know.
It seems so.
It's like mini clan brawl basically, except one person who's going to be out, like feeling left out.
It actually just makes it reminds me of growing up and being sort of the third wheel. You know, because the two others are on a date, they're hitting it off, they've got chemistry, and you're just kind of sitting on the wheel well, kind of.
Given the fact that our audience is primarily video game players, I think you made a little tear fall out of everyone's eye right now.
They know what it's like to be a third wheel when mom and her new boyfriend
paging Dr. Fraser Crane. I think we've had a breakthrough. All right. What is this tier 10 rank though? Is the actual next season of real ranked? And I'm just gonna say real
man ranked. Man ranked is coming up again soon. It seems like we're not getting much of a break anymore between the ranked seasons, which is fine because it's just randoms with steel as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, Popcorn, I stole that from you. Yeah, it's gonna be tier 10, 8 versus 8. So maybe that Yoshino segment we have coming up will inform some people's decisions about what to bring.
Maybe how to save a star, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the alternate name for ranked. It's like star saving.
Yeah.
We go play some star saving.
Good Lord.
We got something special to share though with our audience. One of our frequent guests and friend of the podcast, Askans, put up a rather remarkable game in the Richthofen, aka the Red Baron, CV tier 10 German, and he streamed it on his on Twitch, but he video on demand. And this isn't your usual replay where you just kind of sit there and watch. The entire time you're getting first person narration of what he's thinking, what he's trying to do, what his emotional reactions are to what his team is doing and not doing, and it's about the most entertaining replay you're going to see. And we'll have that link below. Did you watch it as well, Boggzy?
I did. I actually watched it with him. We went over it together after he had sort of clipped it and put it together as one segment. So we'll absolutely include that in the description below. The actual gameplay starts about 5 minutes in, as he let everybody know. And it's a game in the Manfred von Richthofen that will make you laugh, cry, tear your hair out, and then jump for joy. It's a ride, man.
I agree completely. So I guess with that out of the way, we can just move on to our segments.
Yeah, let's do it. We got lots of fun stuff here. So let's hit that bling.
Well, I think you have to take us out, Boggzy. Or I'm taking us out into the next segment, or am I?
I don't know. I'm not getting paid, man.
I feel like we didn't. All right, I'll take us out.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the greatest show on earth. When we come back after this quick break, prepare to be amazed, to have your mind blown with the 3 best segments on any World of Warships podcast you're going to hear today. And this time we've got a little bit of a rock star to help explain one of the more, I guess, interesting and somewhat unconventional ships at Tier 10, and that is the Yoshino. Not quite a Zhao, not quite a Henry, not quite a Shimakaze, although elements of all of them can be found in this peculiar ship, which is obtainable for a massive amount of coal, or, I believe coal is the only way you can get this ship. But we're going to talk to one of the best players in the ship, the person who has, at least in random battles, racked up some pretty significant statistics, and rather remarkable, I'd say, because not only his numbers great, but he's played a lot of battles in it. So weighing in at 255 battles and a 71.76% win rate, kill-death ratio of, or not kill-death ratio, but a kill ratio of 1.35, and average damage of 137,930 with a maximum damage of 269,000. We have bwray of SCCC clan. That's the Seal Cub Clubbing
Club. Yes.
That's what I said. bwray. And I believe, I could be mistaken, but I think you're the first member of our clan to make it onto our podcast. So, on behalf of TNG, we certainly welcome you to this podcast.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So, basically, in a nutshell, let's say somebody's never played the ship before, never even seen it. They're familiar with other Tier 10 ships. How would you describe this IJN vessel?
Well, I would say it's like it's a big Zhao, right? It's a HE slinger. You get the Alpha, you get the fire. It's a big Zhao. You stay behind, right? It's not a first line ship. And you're kind of a sniper, is what I would say, a battlecruiser sniper.
Now, when you mentioned slinging HE, there are other. What are the caliber of the guns on this?
305.
Right. So, is this one where you can effectively use AP as well as HE, and when's the right time to start loading that ammo?
Yeah, I would say I fire HE probably 90 to 95% of the time. The AP does not have it doesn't seem to have very good pen or penetration angles. I only fire AP when somebody is, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, or I know I'm coming up on somebody. If I know that shot, or there's a 85% chance I'm gonna have a good AP shot, I catch them off guard, I'm being a little sneaky, then I'll fire some AP at them. But for the most part, you just sling HE.
Well, let's say, I guess because of overmatch, do you ever just say, "Hey, that's a Minotaur. I'm going to have to fight over here. I'm going to lose AP because of the overmatch"?
Yeah, every time you fight a Colbert, a Minotaur, any of those light cruisers, I fire only AP. Yeah, that's true.
What about some of the destroyers that take AP?
No, I usually keep HE in the chamber most of the time. If I, like, for instance, if I know, like I said, if I know my next shot is on a Minotaur, I know my next shot's on a Colbert, I know my next shot's on a Haragumo, then I'll put AP in there. But if there's a 20-30% chance that I wish I had HE loaded, a lot of times I'll just keep HE in the barrel.
So one of the I guess it's a little bit like nunchucks in that you're as likely to hurt yourself as your enemy if you don't really know what you're doing with them. This thing comes with some pretty spicy torps. Why don't you tell us about those?
Yeah, they're the Shima 20 kilometers, and then they have 8 on each side. But that's a mistake that a lot of people use. They'll take they turn their side to get their torps off, and a lot of times it's not worth it because your guns turn so slow. It's better just to keep all your guns, because like Dolphin Princess says, like, you keep guns or more alpha and more consistent. Like one game I might hit 2 torpedoes, and I might go 6 or 7 games with no torpedo hits. I don't spec into torpedoes at all. I'll put them out there like randomly, kind of, if I have the opportunity, but I don't specifically maneuver my ship to get torpedoes off it.
So staying back often also means staying somewhat isolated. How does this how do you change that when there's some sky cancer in the game? Does that affect some of your placement, some of your positioning?
Yeah, of course. That's why. CVs, they hurt good players a lot worse than they hurt bad players, because they give away your flanks, they give away your angling and your positioning to the enemy. So yeah, on my Yoshino, I take on the second slot on the equipment. You take the defensive fire, um, mod 2 or mod 1. It's in the second slot, the one for Cole, and the AA on the Yoshino is phenomenal. And you can take, like, the ship has a lot of HP, so you can take a few hits, but a lot of times the CVs won't go after you because your AA is so good. And once you wreck their planes the first time or two, a lot of times they don't come back. And that's why I like the Holland, right? Because I can go out on the flank by myself. I don't necessarily need a lot of people around me. So yeah, the AA on the Yoshino is great.
So that does set it apart a little bit from the Zhao, doesn't it? Because I know the Zhao is known for a lot of things, but not as AA.
Yeah, exactly. It's a world of difference. I mean, you can just absolutely wreck those planes with your defensive fire, and then the module. A lot of times before the CV even comes back the second time, if he has to, then you have it ready again. Yeah, that defensive fire module has saved me.
So a lot of folks, this is not a ship that suffers too much from potato creep. Other ships like Tech Tree Lines, eventually folks who are maybe less experienced at the game, or just still learning, can stumble into a ship that they're maybe a little bit ahead of their skill over, maybe just have a skill floor that they can't quite reach from where they are, and that's common on Tech Tree ships, where you eventually you can just grind your way up to whatever ship you want, or ships that are for sale for money. But Yoshino is kind of a lot behind, not as high a skill gate as, say, Slava or some of the other Research Bureau ships, but it is a call ship, correct? So a lot of the folks who do pick this up, they kind of know a little bit about the game at least, but even then, what are the biggest mistakes you see other Yoshino players making?
So a lot of you got to think. So where do I have the advantage, right? So at the beginning of the game, it's really passive and long range, and so that's where you can get a lot of damage. And so you have the advantage on battleships at like 16, 17 kilometers. You just kind of angle your ship a little bit and fire at them. So repeat the question again, please.
Well, my question is, what is the biggest mistake you see other less experienced, more casual Yoshino players making? What's the big mistake that you think dooms them worst of all? Because it is a ship that others have struggled with.
Yeah. So the biggest mistake is you don't want to be the first ship, like, most of the time. At the end of the game, you can kind of go in a little bit, but you don't want to be the first ship. You want to engage the battleships at about 16 or 17 kilometers. Another mistake people make is I see them turning their ship to get their torpedoes off, or turning while they're still spotted, because the Yoshino gets citadeled really easy. And so you wanna guard your side as much as you can. You can take a few hits, here and there, citadel here and there, but as far as tanking, it cannot tank very well. Yeah, that's about the biggest mistakes I can think of.
Right. So this ship, play style wise, in some ways it seems similar to the Henry. So if somebody is, say, they don't have the ship yet, but they have the Henry, they love the Henry, what would you suggest to them to be aware of if they decide to pick the ship up? Like, what would be the big differences in terms of play style and what you can get away with, and maybe things you can get away with that the Henry can't?
Let's see. The biggest difference I would say is the shell trajectory, right? Because the shells, they have big alpha, they go fast, and they hit hard. That's the biggest difference, I would say.
Okay. Now, this ship, all the stats we cited at the beginning, very exceptional stats. And any ship, especially, particularly the Yoshino, those are from random battles. Do you see the ship? I'm sure you and your clan have participating KOTS in previous seasons. You've done clan battles. You guys are champions, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
In the Supremacy League. Did the Yoshino find its way into any of your competitive lineups?
No, it didn't. And I was just thinking, I was like, so with the meta, so with CVs, right, being in clan battles, being really powerful, and like I could see two or three two Yoshinos on a flank guarding. I could see it because they can defend themselves against CVs. They can defend themselves against other ships. I mean, the fire and the alpha is just amazing. I don't know why we didn't try in clan battles.
Well, I think that maybe the reason is because other options, it doesn't have the same gimmick as the Venezia. It also, I mean, the Venezia, in some ways, you could make the case it's overpowered. The evidence being that it just got hit with a Nerf bat. But even in previous seasons, the speed of it makes it less capable as an off-cap flanker as the Henry, because we also remember Henry spam. Although, I mean, the Yoshino, that is one of the things that hurts it is its speed. That's my take. What do you think?
Do I think that, yeah, the speed's definitely a downside, but I could, and the Venezia, yeah, last clan battle season was probably more powerful, but I could see a spot for it in some kind of competitive atmosphere like the last clan battle season. I can see it. Maybe it's because I'm good. I can see it. I don't know.
Or maybe in something like King of the Seas, where you've got first of all you don't have CVs, and it can probably. I think that TNG has run Yoshino in at least one of the last two King of the Seas comps, at least with one of our teams, if not two of them. It can be a dissuader from somebody pushing on a flank because of the tremendous amount of damage it can do. And if in King of the Seas, killing your teammates with backline torps is a much less of an issue than in randoms. So lane denial, what is it, 16, 20 km Shima torps, maybe you're not going to land a whole lot, but they can certainly stop in advance or slow it down a little bit. Or maybe force folks to turn broadside when they otherwise would rather not. Yeah,
it's just the fact that there's just other ships that do things better, that has radar or can support DDs better, or there's different ships that have better roles for sure.
So getting back to random battles, would you mind sharing your secret sauce with us? The build you have on the ship and on your captains when you want to go out and just win.
Yeah, sure. So for randoms, captain skills, 1 point I have priority target. 2 points I have expert marksman and adrenaline rush. 3 points I have superintendent and demo. 4 points I have RPF and concealment. And with this
PF, RPF.
Yeah, because with this captain I use it on Otago, Zhao, and Yoshino and Azuma, right? So
well, it's really a captain just for Yoshino, though. Would you still keep it, or what would your ideal build just for Yoshino be? You've got let's say you're sitting on 100 million elite captain XP. You can rebuild a captain every time you move them to a ship.
I would either take off the 4 point RPF and put on torpedo armament expertise and
really
maintenance. Okay. 4 I would keep it on. I haven't really experimented with it, but this build seems to work fine because a lot of times on this ship, like I go out on the flank, right? So I like to know where that DD's at, and then you can kind of angle the torps or see if he's closing or if he left, and you can stay there. It's pretty helpful because sure. I take this out on the weak side flank.
That makes sense because I mean, if you're bringing defensive fire, that means you're not bringing hydro, so a little bit extra intel on where torps could be coming from.
Yeah,
sure.
And on equipment, spot one I have don't break my guns and torps. 2, the second spot I have the defensive fire mod 1. Third spot I have aiming systems where you can aim better. The 4th slot I have steering gears. I like to take propulsion because that seems to throw off. I can throw people off better with that. But this, it turns so slow, and when you're kiting, you got to be able to swing back and forth and fire your guns. 5th spot, I have concealment, and on the 6th slot, I have faster rate of fire. and the 20-kilometer torpedoes, and yeah,
The only
spotter,
thing
not
that
fighter.
the only thing that sort of surprises me, I mean, about the build is that you take rudder shift over propulsion because I'm sure many of us are quite accustomed in ships with a similar play style to just to I think the phrase is rudder tanking using the I'm sorry, throttle tanking, where you're kind of just moving back and forward and you're kind of hard to hit. But you go with rudder because of the trying to cover up for what is currently, I guess, a pretty bad rudder shift on this ship, huh?
Yeah, bad rudder and bad gun turning, like speed,
Right.
right? So I now if I know I'm fighting a battleship, I'm gonna take propulsion all day. But the thing is, I've had a lot of times where whatever Henry or Hindenburg will push me, I'm in the kiting position, and I have to swing over, fire my guns, swing back, and I want to keep top speed, right? So that swinging back and forth tends to help me survive when like I'm getting pushed by one or two ships. I can get away quickly and then still turn and fire, but then turn back to not give a battleship my side.
Right. The rudder shift, it should be noted, on the ship is remarkably bad. It's almost twice the rudder shift of the stock Zhao. So that tells you something, because I mean, Zhao's fairly nimble, but to be twice as bad is yeah, it's almost, I think, almost the worst cruiser. I think the only one that's worse is the Puerto Rico in terms of rudder shift, which is surprising because you've got Russian cruisers which have a better rudder shift than the Yoshino does. So that is pretty insightful to say, look, really need to do something about this crummy rudder shift, especially I think in the end game where sitting on a flank and burning stuff down at range, the time for that is past, and now it's time to get in there and finish it. So that is very insightful. I have the ship. I haven't played a lot myself, but that is a lot of food for thought on it. So Boggzy, do you have any questions about? Boggzy, do you have a Yoshino?
I do
and
not
why
have
not
a
if you
Yoshino.
don't? Oh, by the way, slight correction. I think the guns are 310s. So that is a fair amount of. This is not a ship you're going to ever have to think about taking IFHE on, and you're going to get good overmatch on some of those very very light cruisers at tier 10 and below. Is there anything you want to? I'm sorry, Bugs. Did you have any questions?
Yeah. Well, I just want to get like an overview of myself, because I don't have a Yoshino. So when I do someday become a real boy and get one, I'm sort of curious to know. There are three main competitive formats, I would say, right now. Meaning, at least, sorry, let's just stick with two for right now. We've got King of the Seas, which generally, at least for now, does not include a carrier, and then we've got clan battles, which for the foreseeable future does include a carrier. So, I mean, in your opinion, does the inclusion of a carrier into the game style, does that make a huge difference? I heard you talk a little bit about how you would respect things. I mean, do you think that a carrier comp makes the Yoshino effectively non-viable for competitive battles?
No, the Yoshino is better against AA. It's just that there's other ships that do things better than the Yoshino does, right? So the Yoshino is the expert at burning battleships at 16 kilometers, right? It's like that's its expertise, but it's not as good against destroyers, or it's not as good against cruisers, or doesn't have radar or utility, right? But so most time there's one, maybe two battleships, and you got one on your side of the flank that you would excel at. But a lot of times to win the game, it's more about cap control and other things other than burning battleships at 16 kilometers.
Right, and that's where actually those, stop me if I'm wrong, but that's where those 20-kilometer sea mines are pretty effective in terms of cap control, because you can effectively booby trap a cap zone if someone's moving in on it with those torpedoes. Is that correct?
The torpedoes are really, really infrequent. Like you might get 1, 2, 3 hits in one game, and then you might go 10 games and not have a single hit. There's so much hydro, and they're spotted from so far away. I don't think it's a huge deterrent to keep people from 20-kilometer Shima torps are not a huge deterrent for people pushing a cap. It's when you get somebody that's fighting, catch somebody off guard, or you hit it right as a battleship can't turn, it's very, very rare. They're not a deterrent. It's kind of like a little extra dessert every once in a while.
Copy that. Yeah, I don't know whether this was a foolish decision or not, but I I spent my coal on the Pommern because I'm a weeb for secondaries. So it's gonna be a while before I get the Yoshino. But
I'm trying to look. So if I had, I'm trying to look at all my coal ships and stuff here. So if I had one choice, it would be Yoshino, Marceau, or Yoshino or Marceau probably, but probably Yoshino, because the reason I like it is because I can go to random battles and by myself, and I don't have to have anybody with me, and I can still have a good game and have fun, whether I'm winning or losing. If I take my whatever Des Moines and I'm on a bad team and I go to the corner and my DD just goes and suicides and my battleship runs and I'm just stuck there, I have a bad game and it's miserable. The Yoshino, you can have a good time no matter what, right? It's a really passive, especially at the beginning, long range game and meta that the Yoshino excels at.
It's not it has upsides and downsides. That's a double-edged sword. First is that it's not really dependent on other teammates. On the other hand, it also doesn't synergize with other teammates very well. So you don't get that beautiful synergy of having a Des Moines come up and radar for a destroyer that's got cross shots.
Right. Yeah, I'm not putting my faith in random people, right? So I mean, I love playing the Colbert and Minotaur, but like if you're on a flank and your DD dies and you're in a Minotaur and that dude just keeps you spotted for the rest. I mean, it's just miserable. It's miserable, and because I'm suffering because somebody else doesn't care. I don't like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, I guess one last question is that we've got another season of Tier 10 ranked right in front of us. Are we going to see you in this ship?
Tier 10 rank. I'm a DD main, I'm better at destroyers than other ships, and they're pretty crucial for the win. So it's possible, but I'll try it first in a destroyer. But I mean, this is Save a Star City. This could be Save a Star City. I had a friend, right, the last sprint or something when you could take tier 9s or tier 10s. He took the Azuma, and because of the XP modifier of a 9 doing damage to a 10, he could sit in the back and farm the battleships and keep his star, and he got the XP multiplier because he was a 9 shooting a 10.
When was ranked have both 9 and 10, or am I missing something?
It was a ranked sprint, or it was some kind of event when you could it had to be a ranked sprint because we went as a team. And he even though I got more damage and frags and capped, he still was above me 75% of the time because he was in the Azuma and he was doing damage to tier 10 ships. It was a ranked sprint. You remember that one? It was the one where you get the caps, like you get health or you get a reload or what's ranked sprint, right?
Arms race.
Yeah. Arms race.
Yeah, it was arms race ranked sprint where you could go with somebody you could take a tier 9 or a tier 10 arms race.
Interesting.
Center, yeah.
All right. Well, look, we really appreciate you coming by. I hope anybody listening has a better appreciation of the ship if they already have it, or a better understanding of whether or not they want to get into this ship if they're sitting on a pile of coal and are facing a lot of tough choices. So with that, bwray, I want to say thank you for coming on the cast with us. Again, congratulations to SCCC on their victory in the newly revived Supremacy League. And we'll hope to talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We are back with a very special guest, Quadrilus. For those of you who are not part of the competitive scene, you may not have heard of him, but if you are, you definitely have crossed paths with this gentleman. He is a longtime organizer of the King of the Seas tournament, and I believe all the way back to one of the organizers of the Supremacy League tournaments that sort of predate the clan battle era. We're here to talk to him today about the renewed Supremacy League, how that's going. It's got a couple teams. They built the league. It's got some innovative roles. We're also going to talk to him a little bit about the recently announced King of the Seas tournament that will be here in September. So, Quad, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, how's Supremacy League going this season so far?
Well, we're in the process of wrapping up the season. All games have been played, and I have to say, I think I'm sort of happy with the results that we got out of, just our teams placed and sort of the experience they had.
So, how many teams participated?
So initially we had 15 signups, but then after drops and such, we are down to 9 total. It's not great, but for this sort of like expeditionary season, it kind of tells us what we need to look into for next season.
So speaking of that, I'm curious. I feel like one of the things we learned from, I believe it was Duke. Syntax, stop me if I'm wrong, but when Duke was on, we asked him about Supremacy League that was coming up, and we were a little disappointed to find out that it was going to compete pretty directly with clan battles this season. So Quad, I'm kind of curious to know from you. Do you feel like that had a big part to do with not enough people filling out some of the ranks?
I don't think it did. Part of the reason we chose to run right now is because a lot of clan leaders told us that they were dissatisfied with the direction clan battles was going and that they would be interested in an alternative format. So we decided that this would be a good time to try to run a short version and just to kind of see what happens.
Sure. Yeah. You wanted to provide an alternative to the clan battles, basically, right?
And ultimately, the main reason why teams dropped wasn't competition with clan battles, but rather just an array of other issues.
I see. I understand. Well, I'm kind of curious too because I saw that you guys obviously you have ship and map bans that are set up ahead of time, and I love spreadsheets and finding out what sort of thing gets the axe the most often. That's why I started this silly segment called Sink a Ship that we've had a lot of fun with. Can you tell me a little bit about what were the most common ships banned as well as the most common maps picked or banned? Excuse me.
All right. Well. As of right now, I only have full data for the Silver Division, but they've played the most games. So from them, I can tell you that the most banned ship was Stalingrad. It was banned in 73.9% of all games.
No way!
I know, who could have possibly seen this coming?
I know, right?
And then the second most banned ship, I'll give you a guess. What do you think is the second most banned ship?
Is it Jussie Smolensk?
Ooh, and actually Smolensk was I think it would be perma-banned that because it's no longer fully available for sale.
Oh, is that right?
Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
Go ahead. It's between a couple. I would say Moskva.
Close, actually. The second most banned ship was Venezia.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah. I guess people are still suffering a little trauma after last Tier 10 season.
A little PT Vendi.
Yeah, banned 70% of games. Moskva was a close third at 50%.
Was that a surprise to you guys?
Honestly, not really. What I've kind of heard from the competitive community is that the prevalence of 12-kilometer radars is quite oppressive on available lineups and gameplay options, so seeing those two towards the top of the list is kind of expected.
But did, since you only have 2 ship, or you have 3 ship bans, there are now 4 ships with 12K radar. Were those additional ships not permitted in competition, or?
No, they weren't. They're too new.
Okay. So are all the games over, or are you about to play like the playoffs or the tournaments?
All the games are over at this point.
Who won the season?
So for the gold division, it was SCCC.
Okay.
And for the silver division, it was hold on, I have that listed right here. It was NFJF.
Okay, those are some pretty strong teams. We've seen them around in King of the Seas and in clan battles. I like to talk to people after they've done something like this and say, what's the biggest lesson that you learned? So let me ask you that one. What is the biggest lesson that you learned from the resuscitation of the Supremacy League?
I'd say the big thing is just more emphasis on communication. I think if we better promoted the season beforehand and got people on board and fully explained what they were dedicating themselves to, we would have had more teams. We would have had teams stick around longer.
Okay. But if I'm just curious of one other number though. What's the total number of players that participated in this? If you have
to
it.
ask Duke for the total number. What I can say for sure is that most teams fully filled out the roster. 15 players times 9 teams. That's a little over 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number. It's a pretty healthy start. So let's now pivot to the new King of the Seas season. What number is this
Actually,
for KOTS?
before we do that, I think
Sure.
I didn't fully answer Boggzy's questions. The maps.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Sorry, getting ahead of
sorry.
ourselves there.
So the let's see, statistics. So the most banned maps were Mountain Range and Warrior's Path.
I can understand Mountain Range. I can understand Mountain Range, but Warrior's Path, that's an interesting map to ban because it's probably among the most generic of the maps. And I presume you play these maps with a safe cap configuration?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Warrior's Path too, but out of a sample size of 142 games, it was only played once.
Hmm.
Do you have any idea why?
I don't know, maybe it's just we use it a lot. I think it was also in the last KOTS, so teams are just kind of seen it a lot. It was in last clan battles.
Right. It could be.
Maybe boredom, I guess.
And then Mountain Range is pretty open for this kind of gameplay. I can see why people don't like that.
Right, yeah, there's just some characteristics of that map that always require a somewhat altered strategy in a certain especially when you don't have CVs, a certain you have to basically invest early in a certain strategy that it's not easy to pivot out of. Because in many other cases that you can make a pivot between your safe cap and a contested cap very easily, whereas with this you're either you have to really commit to one side of the map or the other, and that just makes it much more challenging and unconventional. And some people, I guess, don't like that as much. And I do want to say we were grateful for the opportunity, even though TNG did not participate. We were happy to be able to have the chance to contribute to the prize pool because while there were some conflicts because we prioritize clan battles first and foremost. We do like to see these third-party tournaments prosper. We want to see more of them. We think this is the right way to bring some real variety into the gameplay. So we were happy to be able to make at least a small contribution from our massive podcast revenues to the
Joe Rogan
pool.
money over here.
Yeah.
And for that, I do thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
But yeah, Mountain Range also, I think, because ship bans exist, people are going to be expected to ban Stalingrad, Moscow, Venezia. That just makes kind of gameplay on that map a little more difficult, so I can see that.
Yep. Oh, I guess one more question on that front. What was the most popular battleship?
The most popular battleship? Let's see. In, Ohio.
I'm not surprised. And, I was about to ask, is it Ohio or was that banned? So if it wasn't banned, it does not surprise me. The cross-map devastation.
The most banned battleship was Kremlin, so...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but in some of these maps, though, the ability to whack somebody from the other side is... that's, I guess, we understand why Ohio is at the top. And if you want to get rid of... Now, did any teams run Kleber spam? Or if they were identified as being a Kleber spam team, that should have made its way onto the ban list? Because there are 6 bans per game, at least in...
So for the gold there was 6. For silver it was 4. Just because we were trying to look into some things for adjusting rule sets in the future. Kleber I didn't really see too many clever spam lineups. What I did see was a lot more destroyers played. Destroyers made up 26% of all ships, so that's roughly 2 out of the 7 per lineup.
Oof, that feels good.
Yeah,
That feels
with all
good.
the radars getting banned, and battleships being a lot not as great against destroyers. Destroyers are pretty good, pretty well used.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very refreshing to see destroyers make it back into a competitive game format because as we all know, since the introduction of carriers into clan battles, destroyers have sort of fallen off in most cases as real viable things. In this season, it seems like folks have figured out which ones work, but even then, there tends to be a pretty high min max triage of what destroyers are allowed to come in and which ones aren't. So between Supremacy League and Gaishu's Warships Masters Invitational, it's been really fun to see a variety of destroyers come back into the game that you just never saw in competitive again. So that's great to hear.
The return of the Yu Yang.
Yes, right.
So all right, now we will move on, I think, to King of the Seas. Which King of the Seas is this, Quadrilus? Is it 10, 11?
The 11th iteration.
Wow.
Which would be, I think, the 6th for our server specifically.
That's pretty impressive. That's a real legacy there. So what are the actual dates?
Okay, so the actual dates this is what I have written down, is that we'll have qualifiers on the 13th of September, a group stage round on the 19th of September.
19th is group stage. Okay.
Knockouts on the 20th and 26th, and then finals on the 27th. And then the international finals, which will be on a exciting new surprise format, will be in October, and we will wait to give more details on that until a later date.
Ooh.
I wonder what that could mean.
I think you will find it to be a very refreshing and new change.
So what you're saying is you're putting submarines into KOTS.
I wouldn't say, oh man, running the tournament with one rule set and then saying, oh yeah, for internationals we're doing subs, that would be a bold move.
That would be bold, Cotton. Very bold.
So, most of us that have done KOTS for multiple seasons, we're used to a pretty conventional rule set. Are there going to be I noticed that you're continuing with the 2 ship bans.
Yeah, so we're tweaking it a little. So one of the things we like to do is that, we have these off-season tournaments, and one of the purpose is not only to give teams something to do, but also to test out different rule sets that we'd like to try out. So I think what we're going to try to do for this next KOTS is we're going to keep doing the 2 ship bans per team. Some teams found the 3 oppressive, so we'll do 2. But we're going to do it per each map instead of per each matchup.
Yeah, that's actually how it worked last time in the later stages, at least.
Yeah, and so we're just gonna roll that out to all of the stages. We're pretty confident that teams know how it works, that they'll be able to organize it amongst themselves, and I think it'll introduce much better gameplay into the earlier stages.
Sure, because I mean we did see, I'm not going to name names here, but one team in particular advanced very far in, I think, the early stages where there were no ship bans, but once ship bans were brought into play, their strategy, which some might accuse of being a little bit cheesy, did not. They couldn't run it anymore, so they had to find something else, and it was not as successful. So that is good. It also is something that would reward recon on what your enemy team may potentially be running, or what kind of ships they have a lot of, or what they did in clan battle seasons, etc. How are you going to determine the seeds this time around?
Seeds are a little bit more difficult. I think we're going to end up using the same method that we did for the last KOTS. We're going to have some sort of a seeding committee. But obviously we can't use the last clan battles rankings to determine that. So we're still kind of knocking that out.
Well, I think what's remarkable,
you can trust that it'll be a method that well reflects the level of teams that we have.
Right, and I think what's remarkable too is that the seeding committee last time basically it was a vote of certain top clans that got on the seeding committee, and their 8 were exactly the 8 finalists, which is a sign that that method worked. Although I think we need to have a maybe a seeding committee for the seeding committee. So I don't know how that's going to how that's going to work out. Like a committee decide who gets to be on the committee, who gets to decide who gets the seeds, and then a committee determine that, etc., etc. But look, you guys have done, I think, under tremendous duress, a wonderful job running this tournament for multiple seasons now. Obviously, when you've got these many teams, especially in the qualifier rounds, it's easy for things to look like they're not working the right way, but ultimately you guys square things away. I even when there are moments of controversy, hey, they're going to resolve it.
I can't take I can't take credit for that. All that goes to our massive cadre of volunteers and referees who just help monitor all those teams.
Sure. So if somebody wanted to volunteer or participate who's maybe not on a team that's competing, what should they do?
All they have to do is just reach out via PMs to any one of the admins, and we'll see about figuring out what they're good at and getting them trained up.
So I'm going to throw it back to Boggzy for one more question, but down below we will have a permanent link to the King of the Seas Discord, and to the Supremacy League Discord. So if you're interested in participating in either of those, that's fine. And just a small question here though regarding Supremacy League, and I think this applies to KOTS too. All those teams, if you're not actually in a clan, you just want to participate in the tournament, they'll take mercenaries, right? That's allowed.
It depends on the team, but yes, all of our rules specifically state that these are team-based, not clan-based. It doesn't matter which clan you're in. It can just be any combination of players.
Okay, very good. So
hear that, guys? Shu, I'm all free, baby, right here. I'm kidding.
Go ahead, Boggzy.
Right. So, Quad, we really appreciate you coming by and chatting with us. We're looking forward to certainly to KOTS coming around the corner here pretty soon. So, it's always a lot of fun to watch, given the amount of media that you guys have surrounding it, with all the cool streamers and all the different ways you can check it out. So, I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. But I just had one question before you go. We recently had Sub Octavian on, and we got to talk about how wargaming interacts with community-based third-party tournaments, and obviously KOTS being the biggest and having a long history of being very actively engaged with wargaming and actively sponsored. I'm sort of curious to know how you guys coordinate with wargaming in terms of scheduling. I mean, could I just ask you straight? Do you guys sort of ask, hey, what's the ranked schedule look like? What's the clan battle schedule look like? Or do you sort of just wait for them to announce dates and then choose your dates?
We reach out and kind of ask what the schedule is, when there's kind of space for us to run our tournament. Roughly what the patch schedule looks like. We don't want to run across 2 different patches because of if there's gameplay changes, we don't know what to anticipate.
Right.
We only get dates, we don't get details, so we just want to play on the safe side, try to run within a patch.
That's very interesting. It's good to know. It's great that Wargaming is willing to give you guys a little information ahead of time so you can plan around it. Cool.
Yeah, so I guess with that, look, again, I encourage everybody listening, and if you're in a clan, to get your clan into King of the Seas. It can be a little bit intimidating, but the way the teams are distributed, first of all, in the knockout round, in the qualifier round, they tend to subtract all of the seeded super strong teams, and inevitably you're going to get some good matches in your group. You may not advance, and we've had clients on here that they don't necessarily advance, but they play all 6 or 7 games, and they wind up pulling off some wins, and they maybe get some streaming attention. So I'd really encourage any reasonably mature clan, even if in clan battles you're only storm level or something like that, to give it a try, because it's a lot of fun, and the prep work that goes into it is great. And I also want to actually, since we're talking KOTS now, once we get the KOTS map sets, we will make sure that the Rouse Tactics tool that is shared with the community by the new guys, is up to date with all of the KOTS maps so that you can use it for your advanced planning. And if you want to have access to that, please hop on the new guys Discord. Just DM me and I'll give you credentials so you can start strategizing right away. So with that, Quad, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Synpax had to step away for a second, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today. He is a community contributor. He is one of North America's most popular streamers, and the force is with him. Please say hello to WOOKY Legend. What's going on, WOOKY?
Hey, man. How's it going? Thank you for inviting me here. I'm excited.
No problem. It's happy to have you here. So once again, I'll just ask you, since we had some technical difficulties there, I'll just go ahead and ask you to give us a quick overview of how you got started in World of Warships, how you became a community contributor, and how you grew into essentially a Wookiee empire of clans.
All right, awesome. So we'll start at the beginning. I was looking for a game. This was back in the day, probably over 5 years ago. I was looking for a game to play, a new one. I mostly play strategy, so I knew that there was a World of Tanks, so I got into that. I didn't enjoy a lot of the things on it, so then from there I saw that they had multiple games like World of Warships, and being a fan of ships, I decided to grab the game. But I got into it right after closed beta ended, so I never got any of the little special things, which was fine. At the time I started playing, I enjoyed myself. I got my friends into it. They didn't like it as much, so I just kept on going. And then my wife decided to say, hey, you know what? Just to make more friends, why don't you just start streaming too? You have a good personality and just enjoy it, have it as a hobby. So I started streaming. This was already 3 years into playing the game, by the way. I started streaming 2.5 years ago. And it was a slow build at first, 5 people maybe max for the first year. And then I started making a small community. At one point at which I decided to make myself a clan, just because I saw that there's benefits to it. Just me and myself, and then whoever wanted to join me for my stream.
Yeah.
At the same time, the Anchors Away thing started through North America, and I noticed there's the Turner Joy here in Seattle, or down in Seattle. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. So I decided to go to it, where I met multiple other CCs, and I introduced myself. One of them recognized me, so he's been to my channel at the time. And then I won a couple ships there, one being the Missouri, and I already had the Missouri. So I asked them, hey, can I give this away on my stream? They said yes. I said, okay, how long do I have? They said 3 months from when you get it. So I had until pretty much January, and this was in September.
September of 2019, or
just last year.
You've grown that much since August or September of 2019.
Yeah, so September I was
amazing.
at 200 followers, and I went out to the forums and on my channel and other channels and just privately messaged people saying, hey, I'm giving away this ship. The only requirements is that I need to beat 1,000 followers. So when I hit 1,000 followers, I'm giving away Missouri. A lot of the people were accepting of that and try to help. The community on the forums were they just couldn't believe that I was giving one away, and I explained to them what it was. So it's not like I was just making it up. Still, they didn't understand, which is fine. And come December 22nd, I made 1,000 followers, so I decided to give away the Missouri. I was expecting a lot of people, not gonna lie. Only 120 came, and one person won it, obviously, from there. A person that was already on the channel multiple times. He followed and everything, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
From that day until, let's say, right now, I have gone from 1,000 followers to 8,200 as of last night.
Wow.
So I did apply then when I reached 1,000. I did apply because I reached all the requirements for CC. I applied then, and I got shut down. Then come January, I applied again, and then I got shut down again for various reasons. I'm not gonna let you know what they are because they're silly. and it's in the past anyway.
I see.
And then the third time, come March, I applied again, and I got in. Now, the funny part was I got in, and they forgot to tell me. So
You're kidding me.
Instead of getting in right away, they guess didn't pass around the memo. 3 weeks later, they finally remembered that they're going to be making me CC, so they made me CC before they called out the rest of the CCs, about 2 weeks early, I think, which was nice. So I was hoping to make CC on my 2-year stream, which was May 4th, coincidence enough that I'm a Wookiee.
May the 4th be with you, right?
May the 4th be with me, yes. So I was waiting for it, and I was going to be if they actually read the memo that they passed around, but they didn't. So yeah, May 22nd, I think, they finally reached out to me on my stream and told me to check my emails, and I did, and it was all live, and I made CC then, and it was amazing. At the time, though, I was already growing this empire because the whole thing with the clans is, first of all, my first clan grew really quick. I expanded within a month. I filled up all the spots, and then we had to just upgrade the ports and everything, and add in, the rest of the people up to what, 50? Yeah, 50.
Yeah.
But before we got to 50, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just open up another clan. For every clan, I put in the 2,500 doubloons. I think that's only fair. I opened up a second one. That one started filling up quick, so I opened up a third one, and that one started filling up quick. And at that time, I was also looking for people to join with their own clan if they wanted to be converted into what I was trying to build, which is, a casual but yet progressive clan where everyone is accepted. It doesn't matter what their stats are, and it still doesn't. And if you can be live long enough, you're playing, and you're never going to get kicked out, but you're going to be progressing to at least get into clan battles, regardless of anything. But I told everyone, if you're off for 20 days plus, I'm just going to send you a message. I'm going to remove you, but then when you come back, you can come back if the clan is open, or if we'll move you to another clan, which is very fair, I think.
Yeah, that sounds very Canadian to me.
Very Canadian. Well, we're trying to make room for everyone. Trying to make room for everyone. So, we started moving people, shuffling people. More people were coming in. We were getting more and more active in everything, especially clan battles. We have 2 groups on the main clan. We have almost 2 groups on the second clan. The third clan is still picking up speed. Same with the fourth clan. And then I opened up a clan in Europe because there's a lot of European viewers on my stream. So we made a clan there too. And it's now doing clan battles also. And then recently I acquired a clan on the C server also. So that covers 3 continents right there and 3 servers. And they're also doing clan battles. So in total we have 6 clans. I am looking to expand more. I do want to get into the other servers if possible, but
I think there's only one left you haven't conquered yet, right? I mean, that would be CIS.
No, I think there's the Russian one, and then I think that there's a Chinese server too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that there's just 4. There's North America, there's Europe,
Really?
There's CIS is the Russian server, and then SEA is the Asian server. I think it's just broadly Southeast Asian, and that includes China, I believe, because they differentiate Russia and East Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm mistaken. But anyway.
Yeah, I gotta just step in here for 1 second, because
Go ahead.
anybody who's listening, who's listened to podcasts before, is thinking the exact same thing that I'm thinking right now, which is there is such a difference between interviewing a streamer and interviewing a clan leader who doesn't stream, because you're literally going through all of my questions without prompting, and I'm just sitting here with the biggest smile on my face because I'm like, damn, this guy knows exactly what to say and exactly what the questions are going to be. It's incredible. So, I mean, I'm blown away already. So, I want to stop and focus on one thing real quick, which is before we get too far away from it. That was a really interesting story about you essentially reaching a certain level of streaming before you applied for a CC, and then being rejected for whatever reason, which we won't need to go into, until finally this May you actually get CC status. So I'm kind of wondering now, because it sounds like you had an enormous amount of momentum going into your application. I'm almost wondering, do you feel like the CC finally getting into the CC program, did that help you grow your stream, or is that the main factor, or was it Was it already a kind of a juggernaut before you?
It was already going up beforehand. That was just the cherry on top. But even then, we're still moving forward. I think having a stream that's casual, and don't get me wrong, we have a lot of sour apples here and there, and we're trying to polish them all off, especially throughout all the clans. There's a lot of players that we have. What are we at now? 219 members in our clan.
Whoa.
In all our clans. The Discord, we're almost at 1,000. We're at 920 Discord members.
That's
and the
wild.
Discord's very, very active, but casual at the same time. And we're constantly trying to help anyone out. Even myself, I tell everyone, if you want me to play with you, I don't care what tier. I personally don't care. I will play and help you grow and get you to that next level, get you to that next ship, and at the same time, give away codes. I'm constantly trying to get sponsorships to just give back to the community, man, because they've given so much to me, and literally they've made the channel. It wasn't me. I was just here, just being myself, trying to entertain.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Anybody who streams, I think, would agree with you there about the notion that, you know, if it's sort of that old adage of you know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to see it or hear it, did it actually fall? It's like, if someone is streaming and there's nobody watching, are they actually streaming? So I feel what you mean about the stream is defined by the people who choose to show up and stay and interact and have fun. So
Exactly.
where I'm really interested now too is this. We've talked to a couple other streamers who essentially have developed clans based around their stream. The one I can remember the best is Pops from who's also another community contributor.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of curious. I want to know what made you decide, you know, exactly, hey, this is worth making a clan. Was it sort of a, you know, I'd like to sort of keep these people more, you know, more engaged? Was it another way of engaging them, you know, with your stream, or was it out of a desire to maybe try more competitive things like clan battles? You know, what was the impulse?
Well, with the whole clan battles thing, at first I knew I wanted to get to that spot, and I knew I wanted to build a community where people can do clan battles if they wanted to or not. So I prior to even making that 1,000 followers, like I said, I made a clan for myself, and I was just slowly building it. Like, I was gonna do it all myself, just to get the, you know, all the buffs, all the little perks that came with it. And then from there, people constantly asked me, hey, you know, you should make a clan and I'll join you because I really enjoy your stream. And I said, well, I already have a clan, but, you know, come on by. And everyone was welcome. And that's one of the things that happened, where they all enjoyed it and they were all joining it so fast that I ran out of spots. So I needed to expand faster and faster. And at the same time, I was letting people know, just let me know when you guys want to proceed into getting into clan battles, and I'll make it happen. I might not be able to, due to just the time I stream, but everyone else is more than welcome to. And then it got into that, and more people that knew more than me about the game started showing up to my channel and being a part of the Discord, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like gravity almost. Like it becomes like the self-fulfilling prophecy, where the bigger it gets, the harder its attraction. You know, the more gravity it gets, the bigger it gets, and the bigger it gets, the more gravity it gets.
Yep. And we haven't slowed down, so
Sure,
it's happening. And the whole time we're trying to promote, and I'm trying to promote, just helping each other out, man. The whole game can be a lot better if we just work as a team. And I'm constantly trying to explain to these guys, it's just teamwork. Once you put that into perspective and wanting to win, everything else falls in line. Missions are easier, you know, just progressing in the game, your stats can grow, all of it. I'm not talking Unicum levels yet, but we have people around this channel that can help people get to that stage if they want that or not. But most of the people around this channel are very casual players, but they want to learn and they want to have fun, which is what we provide. Which brings me to another thing. On Saturdays, about 4 months ago, I decided to just make a training room where anyone that is struggling or new to the game can join in. And we started on the NA server.
Mm-hmm.
They join in. They join the Discord. I put them in 2 different groups so they can talk to each other. And we go 12v12. And we talk to them about where to position, where to, you know, focus, what to do, everything as a team. And since day one, we've had only positive feedback. But we do have a feedback page also that they can put in their own, their 2 cents on what we can improve, and we're constantly improving it. And we've been doing that every Saturday. And at one point, I even added a Wednesday to it, and we even jumped into the European server, and we did it there too. So
wow.
We do that every Saturday.
You have a direct engagement with the community, trying to help people who want to get better get better.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And at the same time, we have players that know they're at another level and they come and also help. So it's not just new players against new players. There's also players in between all of them that are trying to help as well.
Right.
And it's all hands-on. We have I don't know how to call them. I guess coaches or callers. They're not telling you what to do, but they're there to help you on the spot. And it's wonderful. And now we've moved to the public test server when it's live. So then all the servers are connected to one, and then no one can be left behind.
no player left behind. I like that.
No.
So I think here before we take a break and play Sink a Ship, I want to ask you just a little bit about how clan battles are going for you, because we've talked to a number of clans that sort of define themselves as casual, community-driven clans where their goal is to help players improve, and then obviously, as you just mentioned right now, focus specifically on improving teamwork and coordination, which all of these things inevitably lead up to essentially people wanting to test this out and see how well they're doing, which usually takes the form of something like clan battles. So as you guys have been actively engaging in clan battles, tell us a little bit about what that experience has been like, where you suddenly start applying slightly less casual goals to what you originally started out as, a casual clan.
Okay, so with that, we have members that are from other clans that have experienced a lot of clan battles, and I reached out and said, hey, can you help us out, because most of the players in our clans have never done clan battles, but they wanted to, and we were mostly doing it for the steal. And if we get somewhere, we get somewhere, right? We weren't there for the fame of becoming a purple clan. If we get there, great. If not, that's okay. We're working on it. It'll take time. No problem. It's still something new, and it's exciting because it's teamwork.
It is exciting, yeah.
To the max, it's teamwork. But then at the same time, you have to understand that there is a caller, and he might make a mistake, and that's okay. And we went from casual, and it's still casual, but there's that drive to be successful, and other players saw that and they wanted to join. So we do have, like I said, two clan battle groups in the first clan and in the second clan, and then in the European clan and in the C clan. So we're constantly trying to push the boundaries of casual, but then still, competitive. So
right. Well, I mean, and that, man, we could probably talk for 40 minutes about just the journey from casual to semi-casual to semi-competitive to competitive. That's a long journey in and of itself. But I think it's very interesting, though, that you guys have this place where you're at right now, where you're just sort of starting to feel things out, and you're sort of realizing that even the people that you put in charge of, hey, this person's calling, they're going to make mistakes. There's a very delicate balance there between putting some authority in people's hands, watching a little hierarchy play out, and then trying to make sure that people don't have their feelings hurt. People are in the right place at the right time, and sort of mitigating expectations, I suppose, is maybe not mitigating, managing expectations that's a deep subject.
Well, I think with that, because we're all brand new and green to clan battles, the caller and the ones being, called upon, they're all learning at the same time. So the input is there from all of them, and what everyone can do better, which helps us grow actually further or faster than having one guy that knows what's going on and then a bunch of guys that don't, and then are constantly talking, hopefully not behind their back, and being like, okay, this isn't working out. It's just they're just not understanding that we're not at their level. But everyone being at the same level for the most part is definitely helping the group grow as a group, and even helping them with randoms and other stuff. And then at the same time, they want to help other players, so everyone's constantly there to help, regardless of clan battles or not. And we're all getting that experience from clan battles because you see where the leadership falls, and and everyone wants to be a leader at the same time, and that makes it more fun.
Yeah, and you see who's ready and willing to step up and take that leadership position as well. That's very exciting too.
Yeah, and we move people through the clans that way too. So if people do want to join, we move them around and we move other people, and it's not a solid group of clans where everyone's just stuck. We move them around where they need to be, and because not everyone wants to do clan battles, and that's fair. That's perfectly fair. So.
TNG functions in a similar fashion, in the sense that we have crews of players that play clan battles together that are in the different tags, and then as the crew itself either finds themselves struggling or excelling, they sort of get swapped between the different tags. So that's sort of how that works. They just work as their own little microcosm. But let's do this. Let's take a quick break. But before we do, we're gonna set up Wookie syncing a ship here. So Wookie, what we're gonna have you do is we're gonna have you basically pilot your ship. We won't name it because we don't want to get sued. Into the canals of a very, very large, definitely not a space, or definitely not a damn it, definitely not a moon, and basically destroy completely from the inside out one ship. It's gone, no questions asked. So we're gonna have Wookie Legend do that when we come back shortly on Get to Know World of Warships. Are you tired of getting detonated in clan battles but don't want to spend your hard-earned credits on expensive signals? Try Clan Battle Detonation Oil. CBD oil is made by distilling the tears of dev-struck players into a completely holistic and homeopathic remedy that will have your clanmates saying, "Pass me the good stuff. I'm about to rush this destroyer." CBD, Clan Battle Detonation Oil. It's not drugs, it's satire. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us. We're here talking to Wookie Legend, the man, the myth, the legend, and we're going to have him sink a ship. So, Wookie, what do you got for us?
All right, so you know what? This is my favorite ship, and the most despised, I think, because I know what it can do. So, the Petropavlovsky.
Ooh, the Petropavlovsky. Why's that?
Yeah, why is that? Well, the things that ship can do, and if you know how to play it correctly, there's nothing really stopping you. You can do it all, man. I mean, yes, it doesn't have torps, but the angles on that thing, the amount that it can get away with, makes it just impossible to play against, especially if it's a really good player and he knows how to use the ship correctly.
Now, if that's not the most Canadian thing I've ever heard, is literally like, well, if I have to sink a ship, I guess I'll get rid of my favorite, eh? That's just that's the most incredible thing in the world. God bless you, Canadians. Yeah, well,
we like our maple syrup. We like our maple syrup, so if we could put it on everything, we will.
You know, just to digress for just a second, we interviewed a clan not too long ago. It was called Storm Clan, and he said they're about 60% Canadians, and that made me realize that TNG, which is a pretty big clan in and of itself, is also like 60% Canadians. And I just wonder what in the hell is it about World of Warships that gets Canadians like attracted to it so much? You got an opinion on that?
There's probably so much salt, and we're so sweet that we just trying to, make it a nice place.
Come on!
We're trying to make it a nice place, Just put a little sugar on it and just.
Are you also the Secretary of State for Canada? Are you a diplomat? That was incredible.
I can't say. I'm sorry.
That was
NDA and all.
No wonder so many people like watching you. That was beautiful. Well, okay. Well, so let's talk about your stream a little bit. Tell me about your stream team.
So I made partner soon after I made. Actually, no, I applied at the same time before making CC. I applied for partner with Twitch, and they also rejected me one time, but it wasn't a rejection. They said, "You're doing great, you're growing, but we need one more month just to see if you're going to continue growing." I was like, okay. Apply back in 3 weeks. I applied back in 3 weeks. This was a week after I made CC. I made partner, and at that same time, I was in the back of my head, I knew there was a stream team option for becoming a partner, and I knew there was already stream teams, and I tried to apply to a couple. It didn't work out for me, which was fine. And a bunch of other streamers and now clan leaders for my group of clans suggested, and I had it at the same time, that I make one that will help out the community of streamers, and not just this game, but any game. So, which was great, because at the same time I was thinking the same thing. So I made the stream team, but with I made the name with the help of other players and other streamers to be more of a global type of situation where any stream from any part of the world can join us, which is why we're called Casual Organizations of Global Gamers, COG. Kind of cheesy, but at the same time it fits in with our whole anyone can join, and the whole purpose of it is to help small streams make affiliate, which is hard. I've been there myself. Then bring them up to 1,000 followers, and then bring them up all the way to partner with Twitch, which is also very hard to do. At the same time, promote mental health and non-toxic gameplay. Now, that's something that I promote anyway on my channel, and I'm a huge advocate for. I have multiple stream links down below in my information for that, because I found that there's a lot of vets and first responders that watch my stream. I'm on at a time where they're still awake, and that's a serious thing, you know, with mental health and everything. And there's no point to waste a life. And in my personal life, I've dealt with people that have gone through it, and I know how to deal with it. Now, not a professional, that's why I have the links, but I tell everyone that if they ever need to talk, I'm always on the computer, because I have a day job too. I guess I'll get to that also, and they can always talk to me, because like I said, I'm there for anyone.
Right.
Even if I don't know you, but you want to talk to someone, I'm good at listening, and I know how to deal with the situation. But like I said, I'm not an expert.
Sure.
So
you're there to help.
I'm there to help, and a lot of people stepped in at the same time, and there's people in the channel that have gone through a lot of stuff, horrific stuff, and are still here, and they're also here to help out anyone that ever needs help. And from there, I made the stream team, and it pretty much sponsors that mental health, non-toxic gameplay. Now, when I mean non-toxic gameplay, I mean don't put the toxicity back into the game. Obviously, verbally, you're by yourself, or let's say I'm on a stream, and I've done it myself, where I explode, I get salty, but that's it. I don't put it back in the game. I don't attack people in the game, which is, I think, is a huge thing, and I think a lot of people need to do, because the game's already toxic enough for no reason. It is just a game, and people do take it serious, which is fair. But then there's other people that don't take it serious, and they need to understand that you're also there with 11 other guys in a random battle that want to have fun and take it serious, while you're, like I call it, side questing. You're doing your own little thing, but having fun for yourself, but you're not really helping anyone else. So I always say to people, just go into co-op and side quest all you want. Right. Leave the rest for the people that want to actually spend their off time playing the game and enjoying themselves. But anyway, that's
you go farm AA and you go farm AAA in War Thunder while we'll deal with it, right?
Yeah, War Thunder. Yeah.
Well, that's, it's so interesting that you say that, because we actually, one of our first podcasts ever, which now seems, it's probably only a few months ago, but it seems like forever ago, we ended up speaking with Navy CB Pete, who's also a community contributor, and he's the leader of the NAM group of clans, North American Militia, and he does the exact same thing, which, I told him, how good of a thing that is, and I'll just tell you as well that, anybody who puts themselves out there as sort of a beacon for folks who are not feeling good, or folks who need help or need someone to talk to, or having mental health issues, it's really a noble thing to do, and it's really admirable. So I thank you for doing that, because I think that oftentimes, not to get too far off the subject of World of Warships in your clan, of course, but I think for anybody who spends a lot of time playing video games in general, it can oftentimes be because it's a place to escape from what's going on in your life, and so it's always heartwarming to me to hear folks kind of rise up out of the nebulous internet ether and say, hey, I know this is happening, and I know it might be happening to you, and if you need someone, I'm there to help. So thank you very much for doing that. Yeah,
of course, and that's why I'm trying to make it very casual for players, but still have fun and still have competition in it.
Right.
Like I said, I know everyone's at a different level, and that's fair. But as long as you're progressing, if you want, obviously, then we're there to help.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
Well, so
yeah.
let's talk a little further about about, quite frankly, the Wookiee Empire, and about what that's what that's looked like to you, and what it's meant to you. Because as we can go back over the previous segment, you've got 6 clans now spread over 3 servers, correct?
Yes.
Oof,
Yes.
And a Discord of 1,000 people, which is a huge community for a game like this. So, I mean, do you mind just sharing with me a little bit about how this has changed you and what it's done for you, and in the sense of how the community has sort of grown and blossomed, and any hardships you faced versus the rewards, obviously?
Well, yes. It's been an amazing journey, and it still is. And waking up and knowing that I can start my stream and having 20 people there while it says starting soon, saying hi to me, it's a really good feeling. At the same time, I don't feel like I'm anything special. I'm just like everyone else, and I like to refer to my viewers as my friends because I get to know them, and I'm literally streaming to make friends. That's the funny part about it. Kind of sounds cheesy, but I've always been a social butterfly, and just growing up the way I do, and people know my story, I've always looked to have people in my life. And I'm not saying that my family wasn't in my life. They were my amazing family. It's just I always wanted more. And like this now, you can be anywhere on the planet, and I can still be your friend, and we can still talk normally, and everyone's equal, man. I honestly don't feel like I'm anything special. I'm just another guy that has a platform that's accepting of anyone, that's casual and fun, and we could be silly about it. And yeah.
Well, I gotta say, though, I have to disagree with you on one point.
Oh yeah.
And that is you saying there's nothing special about you, and I have to disagree, because I have seen your stream and I have seen your beard.
Yeah.
That, sir, your beard is second to none. I'm very jealous.
You should see me with no beard. It's a scary thought.
I remember when I was a little kid, when I was maybe 1 or 2 years old, my dad had a full beard and then shaved it one day, completely shaved it bare, and he'll never let me forget that I freaked out, and I just started bawling because I didn't know who this man was who's holding me in his arms. I'd never seen this guy before without a beard.
I dealt with that with my kids when they were younger too. Yeah, they did not know who I was at first. They can recognize the voice and my eyes, but then everything else was just, who's this guy?
Right. Well, Wookie, let's do this. Let's play Poach, and then we'll go to plugs, and we'll thank you very much for being here. So what we're gonna do, Synpax, obviously he got a work call, he had to step out for a second, but normally what we'd have you do is we would have you poach Synpax. We'd poach the leader of TNG and tell him why he would be a good fit at in the Wookiee clan empire. But since he's not here, you're gonna poach me. You're gonna poach Boggzy, and tell me about Wookiee and why I should basically why I should join.
Why I should join? Well, because I like your personality. That's one thing.
Sold.
Right? What? That was it? Is that it? No. I go after people that obviously the personality is huge. That like to have fun, and it's easy for me to just say, here, you know what? I'll give you your own clan. You do what you want with it, as long as you're casual. In a way that you're not aggressive towards people. You support the mental health aspect of what I've been talking about, and you're non-toxic, which I've been to your stream. You're a great guy. You like to have fun, and I know a lot of people that will join your clan. Unfortunately, your clan's going to be a Wookiee clan, and it's going to have a number 7 behind it.
Wookiee
and
it's Wook 7, right?
Well, Wook 7, yeah. So. And it's probably going to be the fastest growing one out of the rest of them, because I know who you are, and I know people know who you are too.
One can only hope. So, if I were a person listening right now, and I wanted to join a Wookiee clan, it sounds to me like what I would find there is I would find a really tight knit, expansive community that is continuing to grow, that all shares a commonality, which is often that they enjoy your stream, they enjoy your organization. And it's just starting. It sounds like it's just starting to come into clan battles with a little bit more I want to say a little bit more attention to detail. It sounds like is where you're getting now. Is that about right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, listeners,
And,
there you heard it.
Well, also, if you have your own clan and you and your clan members want to join the Empire, like I said, I will pay the 2,500 doubloons to change the name, the tag, and you and your clan can be a part of what we are, and it's all one Discord, which makes it really easy. And yeah, but back to my stream team just for a second.
Oh, sure.
It's constantly growing. Every day people are coming to me, which was the craziest thing. And they say they've seen it, they've seen everyone that's in it, they want to be a part of it, and it's growing. We're about 40 streamers now, plus.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you want in on that too, feel free to come by. Also, if you want a shout out on your stream, doesn't matter how big you are, I'll put you in my Discord. Every time you're live, it pops up. And every time you come in and say hi, I will also give you a shout out for free. I'm here to support every channel. I'm not selfish. I want everyone to grow. Even if you're ahead of me, which a lot of them are. Yeah, I'm a team player, man. So
I think that everybody listening has found out you are indeed a team player. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm here to make this game great again. So
make World of Warships great again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful, Wookie. And my last question for you before we run down a list of your plugs is Disney. Are you afraid of them? Can you feel them hounding, nipping at your heels, or are you pretty confident?
If they're coming, I have no idea. I have been asked the question multiple times by multiple people throughout the last year, and you know what? If they do come, I will change, obviously, everything that has to do with me. Obviously, just the name and the logos. But other than that, no, I'm not afraid. I deliberately spelled Wookiee wrong, and I don't have anything to do with Star Wars. If people come and ask me, are you a Star Wars fan? I'm always telling them I'm actually a Star Trek fan, which is a big letdown. But then they see that I'm a really nice guy, so they stick around anyway. So yeah.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. Well, I'll do my best to run interference between Disney and the Wookiee Empire.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in the meantime, here we're gonna have in the description below on the podcast and on YouTube, we'll have links to the Wookiee Empire Discord, to Wookiee Legends Discord, to Wookiee Legends Twitch stream, and also to the I'm so sorry, it's multiple letters, to your stream team.
Yes.
Yes. We'll have a link to that as well. Anything else you'd like to plug before we go?
Yeah, just have fun out there, and just remember, the more fun you have and less salt, the easier the games are. And try to work as a team as much as you can, because literally the game is it's very simple, but there's those few fundamental things that everyone needs to learn. Other than that, yeah, just be respectful of anyone else. There are a lot of kids playing that game, so you spouting out nonsense doesn't really help out anyone else. So
people may forget that there are actually kids who play this game, and they look just like everybody else in game. So
all the time. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Wookiee Legend, for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure. And then thank you to our other guests who were here before Wookiee Legend. Thank you to Quadrilus for coming in and talking about KOTS and Supremacy League, and our Yoshino guest as well. So thank you, Wookiee, and we will catch all of you next time on another episode of Get to Know World of Warships.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.